Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton, and I'm the Executive Director of San Antonio Charter Moms. These are Charter Moms Chats, and it is enrollment season. So we've been featuring updated enrollment guides for different networks and schools of choice in San Antonio. And this is essentially Great Hearts Week because we're focusing on Great Hearts Texas bricks and mortar schools today. We're going to be talking about Great Hearts Online and Great Hearts Micro Schools later in the week. So come back later in the week for that. But I'm really excited to be sharing about Great Hearts Texas. My kids are former students at Great Hearts, and I really appreciate the classical education model, and they're really pioneers in that space. And there are many campuses across the San Antonio area. So to talk about Great Hearts, we have two very special guests. We have Andrew Ellison, who's the executive director at Great Hearts San Antonio, and we also have April Hufty, her title is Director of Auxiliary Operations for Great Hearts Texas, but she's really here to be our enrollment guru. So whatever questions you have about how the enrollment system works, that is one of her many responsibilities. So, but my first question is going to be for Andrew, and for maybe folks who haven't heard about Great Hearts yet, I was wondering if you could kind of describe the mission and vision of Great Hearts Academies, because really it's big. It's beyond even just Texas.
Yeah, and first of all, just let me say thanks again, Inga, for all that you do, for all that San Antonio Charter Moms does as a platform to enable families in San Antonio to just become more informed about the choice options, the choices that they have as drivers, as owners of their own children's education. Your organization has just done so much over the years to educate folks and help parents learn about all the wonderful choices that exist for them here in San Antonio. So we appreciate your advocacy, and we're all on the same team, even though we're competing for students, charter operators. But yeah, so Inga, you used the phrase classical education, and I like to say this: what is a classical education? The great English writer and humorist G.K. Chesterton said that it's the idea that the youngest people should be taught about the oldest things rather than the newest things. So a classical liberal arts education like Great Hearts offers to students in grades K through 12 here in San Antonio has its eyes on the time-tested works and deeds of our past, of our shared history. History, let's just talk about that. We think that, a well-educated American needs to know American history, but also needs to know more than just that, needs to know the history of Western civilization, going back to ancient times and the birth of what we now think of as the West, in the ancient Mediterranean, in the Eastern Mediterranean of all places, ancient Greek history, Roman history, history of the ancient Near East and Egypt and North Africa, extending all through the Middle Ages and the era of exploration. We want our students to be fully immersed in history, the old deeds of the past that have made us the people that we are today, for good and for ill. We want them to know all about our shared past. We also very much have our eyes as classical liberal arts educators on great literature, the printed page, really above all else. And if I had to come up with maybe just a one phrase motto to distinguish Great Hearts from a lot of other educational operators, and maybe even just from the general trend of 21st century post-COVID civilization as a whole, I would say books, not screens. We value at Great Hearts paper, printed words, interfacing with books, turning pages, handwriting. Our students learn cursive in the lower grades, and in fact are required to write cursive after third grade moving forward. We have to make our teachers learn how to write cursive in order for them to keep it up too. But our students are going to learn about great stories from our shared past, American folk tales and folklore, but they're also going to learn ancient mythologies of the world, of the Indian subcontinent, of the Far East, of Africa, of pre-Columbian civilizations. Great Hearts students will read and memorize tons and tons of poems from simple nursery rhymes all the way up through classical English odes by authors like Keats and Shelley, and American elegies by poets like Walt Whitman, ballads like Longfellow's Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. Our students in the middle and high school are going to read old works of literature. And when I say old, I mean old. I don't just mean in the era of black and white television. I mean ancient epics like the poems of Homer, the ancient Greek Iliad and Odyssey. Our students are going to read the Beowulf poem. They're going to read Chaucer and Dante and other medieval authors. They're going to read tons of Shakespeare, right? This is Great Hearts is a place where students will be immersed in Shakespeare. Even before they're able to read an entire play, they'll be memorizing speeches from Shakespeare when they're in grade school. They'll be reading whole plays in middle and high school, and they'll be acting in full-length Shakespeare plays and productions by the time they're in 11th and 12th grade, because all Great Hearts students take drama in addition to music, in addition to visual arts, in addition to a rigorous program of mathematics and science study that includes a whole year of Euclidean proof-based geometry, as it was done in ancient times and has been the basis of so much important mental cultivation, which has led to the modern science of astronomy arises out of the discipline of Euclidean proof geometry, and that's something all Great Hearts students get to study. Foreign language is an essential piece of a classical liberal arts education, and I don't mean 21st century world languages necessarily. I mean, first and foremost, the study of Latin, the great language of the philosophy, the literature, the law, the government of our ancient Roman forebears. All students in Great Hearts Middle School are required to study Latin for several years at least, and many of them choose to continue those studies as they go on into high school. Although there are options for students also to study Spanish and to study French as high school students. So, when students graduate from a Great Hearts High School, I've talked about all these different things. They have a Great Hearts High School diploma that has twin endorsements from the state of Texas. Great Hearts students graduate with a TEA, a Texas High School Diploma endorsement, both in humanities and in STEM. So I think we do a wonderful job of giving students a rigorous education that covers all the bases and prepares them for whatever the 21st century holds.
Well, that's a great overview, and I really, Andrew, you are a great speaker. I really appreciate it about you. I remember when you gave the first commencement address at Great Hearts Monte Vista. I wasn't there in person, but I watched it later. I was like, wow, really, Great Hearts is really lucky to have you as part of it.
Oh,
You're a great ambassador for it. So my next question I want to ask both of you, but it's Andrew, since you're on screen, I'll ask you first. But can you kind of talk about like your role at Great Hearts? And I know you have multiple roles, right? You're a dad, right? You've been a teacher, you've been a school leader, and now you're in this role where you kind of mentor the headmasters at the different schools. So
sure.
So
well,
let me comment on those different roles.
Yeah, Inga, you said it's a Great Hearts Week here on San Antonio Charter Moms. Every week is Great Hearts Week in the Ellison household. Not only do I work for Great Hearts here, I am also a Great Hearts dad. My wife and I have 5 kids currently enrolled in Great Hearts from grades 3 up through senior year, 12th grade. We're the parents of one Great Hearts alumnus who's in his junior year of college right now. I am also a Great Hearts spouse, which is to say Mrs. Ellison is a 3rd grade teacher teaching Spalding phonics, cursive handwriting, science, history, and geography to 3rd graders at the Great Hearts Monte Vista campus. So every week is Great Hearts Week here in our household. We all live and struggle according to the same rhythms of the school year and the academic calendar. But my job as executive director is first and foremost to work with our school leaders. Most schools call them principals. We call them headmasters. And that's an old-fashioned term dating back to the English tradition. But back in the old days, teachers used to all be called masters. and the headmaster was just the chief teacher, the number one teacher, or the principal teacher, if you will. Principal as an adjective, meaning the first. My job day to day is to support our school leaders, to mentor them, to coach them, to run weekly meetings, lead them in projects or solving problems as a group. But really, a lot of it is just to be on call, to be there for headmasters when let's just say this, when interesting things come up from day to day. Because running a school in the 21st century post-COVID America is, I tell you, I've been in education for a long time, Inga. This is the beginning of my 26th year. I've done 25 full years in education as a teacher, as a headmaster for 10 years, and now entering my 10th year as a district administrator for Great Hearts. Running a school has changed a lot in the last 25 years. Things move a lot faster. Things burn and build up a lot more quickly than they did before. Everything oftentimes seems more urgent. Kids struggle with way bigger challenges than they did 20, 25 years ago. So our school leaders are incredible men and women. It is an honor to serve them and guide them and help them as they do the work of leading teachers, leading parents, and leading students at our 6 different campuses around San Antonio.
Yeah, well, thank you. Okay, so April, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. So I know you're also a Great Hearts parent, and you have you've worked in operations at the campus level, and then now your role, like enrollment, is one of the things you do. But I was wondering if you could kind of comment on your role and how you feel like as a Great Hearts parent as well.
Absolutely. My role specifically supports enrollment and some other areas, but specifically, my passion about enrollment is connecting families to our wonderful campuses and knowing that it is for everybody. It is for we have a diverse enrollment, and you don't have to. All you have to do is sign up. Basically, it's for anybody. And so I'm grateful that I support campus operators that talk to parents and fill seats. And so I'm also a Great Hearts parent, and that's really most important to me. That's where my passion comes from. I'm thrilled that I have 3 daughters, 2 in lower school and 1 in upper school, and I just love that they have the opportunity to have this rich literature, that they read it, something that my husband and I didn't get to have growing up, but the fact that our girls get to have that is I really can't believe it, and especially because it's for free. The tuition, you put a uniform on a kid, that's really all you have to buy, and then they get this wonderful high academic level of education that is really special and unique.
Well, yeah. I want to echo something that you said about, I still, this question comes up a lot. And I used to ask this question, like back when I had first heard of Great Hearts, is like, well, what does it take to get in? Like, does a kid have to take a test or anything? And, I have a child with special needs. I know the Ellison family has a child with special needs, and, children with special needs are welcome at charter schools. Great Hearts, has a special education system where there's special education coordinators and interventionists on campus. There's no, like, my child was behind in math and he got caught up. He went from refusing to do handwriting to doing cursive within about 6 months.
Yeah. Wow.
And I mean, yeah, so it's something I always try to emphasize to families, that there's a lot of myths about charter schools, but they really are open to all kids, and you don't have to live near the school. I know there's Great Hearts parents who drive a pretty long way to get access to that for their kids, and it's a large enrollment area, right? It's like pretty much anywhere in the metro area or surrounding counties.
Yeah, we serve New Braunfels kids, Bernie, Poteet, all of South San Antonio, even though our schools are more in the northern region of San Antonio. We serve a lot of South San Antonio South region kids. And our boundaries are really wide in San Antonio. I love that anybody can come. And we have locations just scattered very strategically out and about. Our recent launching campus filled the area over there, 1604 in Bandera. And so now we're out there, and just about, it seems like wherever you live, you can find one that's close to you and apply to multiple schools. And like you said, the application, it literally takes 5 minutes. We just need that basic parent information and basic student and grade level information, so that that those students can enter our lottery in open enrollment, and we can send offers in the spring. So
yeah. Well, I want to ask both of y'all to share like any like example or story that you feel like demonstrates Great Heart School culture. So April, do you want to
Sure.
Since you're on screen, you want to share it first, and then we'll take it to Andrew.
Sure. Well, Mr. Ellison talked about the Shakespeare, the literature that they read, but also the play. My daughter was in the play at Monte Vista North last year with Mr. Ellison, and I just loved her getting that opportunity to be in that school-wide play, and I think that is, really unique. Not a lot of schools do that, and it was just great. She built a lot of friendships, and she just learned a lot and a new skill, and that's probably my most recent exciting culture.
And it's not just the drama kids doing drama; it's all the kids. They all do it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so Andrew, now I want to ask you the same question.
Sure.
Phrase examples that demonstrate Great Heart's culture.
Gosh, I think about something that one of our schools has done for a couple of years. They take the junior class out on a week-long backpacking trip in Moab, Utah, and a lot of wonderful stories have come back from that trip. Teachers go and help, chaperone, which is to say they're out there hiking, they're rock climbing, they're rappelling along with students. They are eating over the portable propane stove. They are heeding nature's call in a very rough and rustic manner, just like the students are, right? So the bonding experience of a junior class and some of their teachers and some professional guides being out there in the wilderness for a few days. I heard a great story once about kids sitting around a campfire in the dark, with coyotes howling in the distance, and they're talking about Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment around the campfire. That's sort of one of those only at Great Hearts moments. I'd love to follow up or just maybe elaborate on a little something that April was talking about, right? And it, it has to do with what does it mean to be a tuition-free public charter school? And I want to say this: Great Hearts is free, but it's not cheap. What I mean by that is this education doesn't cost you a single dime or dollar, or rather, you're already paying taxes, property taxes. You're paying sales taxes that are going into the state coffers, and those funds are coming back out to fund a public education like a Great Hearts Charter School. But this education is not without the demands that it makes upon families and students. This is an education that challenges families, that says, do you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself? Mm-hmm. Do you want ease and comfort in education, or do you want meaning and purpose and challenge? If the latter is what you want, Great Hearts is for you. Do you want education that is about shortcuts and the fastest path to getting through and getting on to the next thing? Or do you want an education that is about taking time, about struggling, about taking years to work on things and tackle some of the most important questions in mathematics, science, and philosophy with which humans have ever puzzled. If the latter thing is what you want, then Great Hearts is for you. This is an education that asks families to partner with us, not just to drop your kid off and then pick him or her up at the end of the day. This is an education that requires families to transform their homes into places of learning, into places maybe where there's a little bit more quiet than there was before. A Great Hearts education challenges families to turn their homes into places of less distraction. Park those phones. Take the phones, park them in the phone garage in the kitchen while the kids are doing homework. Turn the music off, turn the TV off, turn the computers off, because that's the kind of study environment in which kids thrive and grow and become successful. And these things are challenging. They're kind of countercultural. They're more than countercultural. Our schools are phone-free zones. Kids are not allowed to have their phones on their persons during the school day. They've got to stay off, powered down in the backpacks or in the lockers. So a Great Hearts education is tuition-free, but it comes with a real price. A price just like a physical fitness regimen requires you to put in a lot of sweat and a lot of effort and a lot of pain to get out of it what you want to get out of it. Or joining a service organization like the fire department, or being a first responder, or training to be a paramedic. Those are demanding calls that require everyone to put skin in the game. I'd like to think that a Great Hearts education has some of that spirit as well. We are looking for families who want to go all in, who want to put everything behind their children and give their children the opportunity to learn and be challenged and find a purpose and hear a call and respond to a call. That's not cheap. That's not cheap and easy. You can't pick up a phone and push a couple of buttons and download that. There's no buy now button like there is on Amazon for that kind of education. It's an education that's about challenge and the kind of growth that comes from struggle. So families, we want to partner with you, but we want you to go all in. Come all in with us at Great Hearts.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to describe it. It's hard to, I guess I'm foreshadowing a little bit is what I want to ask April about, but I think it's really important for families to, I hope that through the blog post and through this interview, they get a taste of Great Hearts culture, but like going to an information night, going on a school tour, like those are really essential. And then what I hope is that the families who visit a campus get really excited about it, because then they see the effort that the kids are putting in at the young ages, and they see it as it comes to fruition, right? So they might see, young kids, what great books that they're reading, and how they pay attention to their teachers, how they act in the hallways. And you could see like in a humane letters seminar, how autonomous the students are, how much confidence they have, how much deference they have towards their peers, and what big ideas they're wrestling with. And it's uncharacteristic. We're in our society, we're not used to seeing teenagers act that way. We underestimate what young people are capable of because we haven't asked that much of them before.
Yeah, no, I think that's really well said, Inga. And this is not new, right? The images of young people that popular culture and media and entertainment have been showing us for decades are not inspiring images, right? For decades, the world of entertainment has fed young people and fed adults images of teenagers who don't want to learn and who are obsessed with themselves and worried about their social lives as the most important thing in existence. Young people are capable of so much creativity. They're capable of so much nobility, of learning, of maturity and expression, verbal expression, artistic expression, mathematical and scientific expression. There's such tremendous potential in young people. And that's one thing that is just a real joy to engage in this work, is to see American kids being so much better than themselves and surprising their parents and surprising even themselves with what they can attain to, with what they can aspire to, with what they can achieve.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's very hard to follow that with another question. But I think I need to bring it back down to earth a little bit with some practical. So April mentioned that there was a new campus on the northwest side. So I was wondering if you could kind of highlight Great Hearts Invictus in particular. So Andrew, can you touch on that, or maybe I can let April have a turn too?
No, I'd be happy to. Right. So up on the northwest side of San Antonio, Great Hearts Invictus is actually located in the town of Helotes, Texas. So geographically, not actually in San Antonio. It is right now a K-7 campus, tucked away, off of Bandera Road, and you wouldn't notice it if you were driving by. But it's got a beautiful campus with a lot of land. It will be growing to a K-12 community eventually. Their mascot is the Highlanders, which I think is a great mascot for being up there, not exactly in hill country, but Helotes is kind of the gateway to the hill country, I think, up there on that side of things. And
they do have Highland Games every year.
They do.
Actually,
Helotes hosts the San Antonio Highland Games and Celtic Festival. So yeah, why not? Let's have a Great Hearts Day at the Helotes Highland Games coming up in the springtime. I think that would be awesome. So while Invictus is our newest campus in San Antonio, it's actually got a really veteran staff. Our headmaster there, Mr. Matthew Vlavich, has been with Great Hearts for 15 years now. And he was a headmaster at Great Hearts Western Hills down by Lackland Air Force Base, on the west central side of San Antonio. We've got veteran faculty, a veteran administration team that served in Great Hearts for a number of years already, veteran special education and general education classroom teachers there too. So Great Hearts Invictus is the gateway to the northwest side and the gateway to a Great Hearts presence in the hill country. So accepting applications right now, in fact, for current year enrollment in some grades, as well as general applications for the coming school year.
Well, that's a really good segue, because actually I want to ask both of y'all to offer. I want to give parents like practical information on like how they can learn more about those schools and how they can apply. So, and I've got my banners ready to talk about the open enrollment period. So,
that'd be great for April to tackle. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So April's turn. Okay.
Sure. Well, you talked about how can families know more about us as Great Hearts, and we want to encourage families to research. Go to our website. There's endless resources there. Seek out a tour. A lot of our campuses have tours posted on the website. If they don't, just pick up the phone and call the campus of your choice and get set up with a tour. Almost all of our campuses will be doing fall tours in the next coming weeks. And talk to another Great Hearts parent. That is another way you can do your research, and also just talking to the campus faculty, staff, and administration. Find a teacher who can really talk about what happens in the classroom, and those things will really help answer your questions about who we are and what we're all about. And also, this is on Facebook. All of our campuses have Facebook pages. That's another way you can kind of grab some information there too. In talking about enrollment, I guess we can go into our timeline. There we have open enrollment begins November 7th for the 23-24 school year. So if you have you have a 4-year-old right now, and they're going to be going into kinder next fall, then you can apply as early as November 7th, and you will then be eligible for our lottery. So that's what open enrollment means, is that is when we collect all of our applications for our lottery. So you will be eligible at any time between November 7th and December 9th. If you're applying, you're eligible for our lottery. And then we will have our lottery, I think it is January 18th. And immediately after our lottery, we will start sending offers, filling the bulk of our enrollment in January and February. If you don't get an offer in January, February, you can look into your parent portal and see where you are on the wait list. It is really important that you apply during open enrollment because every application after open enrollment is time-stamped after those early applications. So our lottery is a very fair system, as fair as it can be, and it is just ordered by random lottery and then later timestamped. So be sure and have that on your calendar, parents, to apply during that time. And then we're going to be filling seats up until the first day of school, but even beyond the first day of school. As we have availability, there is rolling offers all throughout the spring, summer, and fall. We're sending offers right now for our current school year. And normally our schools are completely packed with heavy wait lists. This is the first year that we have some availability in some of our schools, in some of our locations. So it's not too late to even apply for this current school year if you're interested. So yeah, it's an exciting season that we're gearing up for. We will also have an information night on November 15th. That's our info night. We are in the early planning stages of that. So look for more information to come. We're going to have in-person events at our campuses, but also virtual info nights if you can't meet in person. So we're excited to talk to families about our school. We want everybody to be a part of it. And as we've filled our schools, a lot of our kids, a lot of our prospective parents have applied and gotten in. And we just want to spread the word all over San Antonio so even more people know about this great, rich education.
Oh, April, that's amazing. That was a ton of information. So, but I just want to kind of echo and reinforce some of the things you said, and also plug our resources at SA Charter Moms. So we just updated the enrollment guide blog post. So it's at sachartermoms.com. Right now it's pinned at the top because this is Great Hearts Week, but anybody can visit the site and just search for Great Hearts. It'll pop up. And then also in the San Antonio Charter Moms discussion group, we will post reminders of hey, Great Hearts is starting to take applications, or we'll post, hey, the Great Hearts deadline's tomorrow. You want to be sure to get in during open enrollment because then you are in the lottery. You're not just added to the waiting list afterwards. That's the best chance. So now back in the day, back in 2014, my son was waitlisted, but good news is we got an offer by June, and then we were off to the races. We had enough time to buy uniforms, and
good.
I didn't buy homeschool curriculum yet for that year, so it was good. You did a great job talking about all the different options. I think info night, school tours, following Great Hearts on social media. There's tons of information on the campus pages, and it really gives a sense of the school culture. There's their unique traditions at each campus and activities that they do, and Falcon Fair, and all kinds of fun stuff. So you did a great job explaining what all families can do to get connected.
And we will be at School Discovery Day coming up October 22nd. I'll be there. I'd love to talk to anybody that's interested right before open enrollment. So
that's right. Yes. So San Antonio Charter Moms, we're hosting School Discovery Days. Yeah, the first one is at Hemisphere, and of course Great Hearts will be there. So we're having a whole series of events, but that's the first one. So April, I'm so glad you're coming, and that's a great opportunity for families. Okay, so we've had just a few comments come in during the live stream, so let me share. So Brady Chaudwa, one of her kids is in Mrs. Ellison's class, so she wanted to recognize an amazing teacher.
Oh, it's very kind. Thank you so much. I'll pass those words on when she gets home from work at 8:00 tonight.
Oh man.
Right. Yeah. No, it's these are difficult times to be a teacher. So I think they need as much appreciation as we can give.
Parents, if I can just say, wherever your kids are going to school right now, it doesn't matter if it's Great Hearts or somewhere else. Please drop your kids' teachers a friendly note, a note of appreciation. So often we don't hear, educators don't hear from the parents of the kids whose lives they are changing. Everybody, please send an email to somebody's teacher this week. If you're going into fall break or going into a holiday the middle of next week, send your child's teachers a thank you note. They work so hard, and they need to hear the love and appreciation from us parents.
That is excellent advice. Like, if we can all lift up the morale of teachers, because that impacts our kids' lives every day. And
happier
really
teachers are better teachers.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, right. And I will say, right now they're teaching our kids perseverance. And that is one of the 9, core virtues that Great Hearts is constantly, our teachers are constantly pulling out of our students and teaching through the literature, these virtues of honesty and friendship and responsibility and citizenship and friendship and perseverance. As they persevere, those students are watching them work so hard day in and day out because they care so much. And in turn, I feel like that makes our children care so much and persevere and have that integrity. So
yeah, I have so much appreciation for the Great Hearts teachers who impacted my kids' lives. They made it's a debt I will never be able to repay. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, we'll all. I'm resolved. I'll go message some of my kids' teachers. I don't
care where your kids go to school. Send the teachers a note. This is very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
I love that.
That. No, but everybody. Yeah, but just if you are a prospective Great Hearts parent, make note about those enrollment dates though. So November 7th is when open enrollment kicks off. So that's why we're starting early in October, so people can get aware of that, and then be ready to jump on open enrollment when it starts.
Love it.
Okay. All right. Or like April said, there are open seats into some grades at some campuses for the current school year. So you don't necessarily have to wait till next year to join Great Hearts.
Flip the lottery. Come on board now.
Come now.
That's right.
Lines, express check-in.
That's right. Okay. Well, it's been a joy talking with you both. I'm looking forward to later this week when I get to talk to the Great Hearts Online and the Micro Schools team. But it's been wonderful to share about Great Hearts Texas with.
Thank you so much for having us and inviting us. It was lovely.
Thanks, Inga.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.